We're going to start our music stories with you, Oti.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
Music and dance, obviously, has had a massive impact on you, not only professionally, but also personally.
Yeah, I mean, me being a professional dancer, I wouldn't be sitting here on Loose Women, which I absolutely love, without dancing. But dancing in itself starts with music. I mean, I've always believed that dance is a physical representation of the song. And I started dancing when I was 4 years old in South Africa. And I was kind of shoved into it because I had my two older sisters, Mutsi and Pamela, who were dancing. And they absolutely loved it. And I feel like my mom was like, look, I've got two in already. You might as well just, you know...
Join the group.
Just join the group and just dance. And it always felt to us like this was our way out. So my mom didn't want us in the streets. She wanted us to have focus. She wanted us to be very goal-orientated. And dance kind of gave us that. It let us travel the world. It let us come to England, to Germany. And it led me to Strictly, which then led me here. But music has always been the thing that holds us down. I mean, every Christmas, my sister would put on a song, and you can imagine my family, even now the kids, we have even babies coming up, and we're dancing. We never try sing, because that is horrible. It just sounds like my mom always goes, is there a dead cat somewhere? Is there me? And I'm like, it's me singing. But particularly, I think it became even more important when I had my daughter. So she was born premature. She was born at 31 weeks. And I remember I had sepsis, and they didn't know whether she had it or not. So she was in an incubator. She had, you know, ventilation. She couldn't breathe on her own. And it was, I would say, our spirituality and our religion and gospel music that really was there for us. Because they always say to you, sing to the baby, because they connect to you. And I would have cried every day if I didn't believe, like, in my religion, in God, but also in that song. That music not only is for her and I, but for me and my mom. It's, I think, the only thing we have in common, really, is, like, gospel music. And now the time, which I think was really, really tough, was with Bill. You know, we were dancing together on Strictly, and it was during lockdown. And the further along in the competition, it can get quite intense and what happens there. And I know particularly for Bill, it was really, really hard. And he kept feeling like people saw him as a joke. People didn't think he was good enough. People didn't think he belonged. And people didn't think that him and I should have gone as far as we did. And every day we would get into the studio and I would play I Am Here. No. This Is Me, from The Greatest Showman.
I love
Great
that.
track.
It told us, you belong, believe in yourself, and you will succeed. And that's why...
You did.
Yes, we did. We loved it so much. We made our show dance, The Greatest Showman, and we were like, yes, we're going to win this.
And
we won it.
You did.
And then I said, goodbye, I'm going to do swimming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Give us a blast of This Is Me.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
why is everybody hitting me?
I think the TV will shut off. So I think...
Go on.
Look out,
Brenda.
here I come.
And I'm marching out to the beat of drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. If you could learn the lyrics next time...
I was on the first verse. I wasn't in the chorus, sorry.
Now, Myleene, you've been performing since the age of 4.
yes.
You've been really honest about everything you've been through in your personal life on this show. How has music helped you?
I think I was playing the same Adele soundtrack.
Yeah, were you?
If you were.
See?
He's a good
Why
breaker.
were you married to Ray as well?
What?
Oh, right. Now I know.
No, but you go through a breakup and you either go for Lana Del Rey
Yeah,
or you
you
go
do,
for
yeah.
Adele, and it's just really healing because lyrics, I think they just connect in a way that nothing else does.
Music is in your DNA, really, isn't it?
I'm from 6 generations, as my dad used to love to remind me. Wow. So it's in my DNA for sure, but there does come, I suppose, a bit of a pressure because you then think, well, there's like a legacy
have to
uphold.
follow this, yeah.
So when it actually came to auditioning for Hearsay, I was actually working in this building and I was working on the Lily Savage show at the time, and they needed someone to come on and do, you know, the auditions. It wasn't like the X Factor. No one really knew about these kinds of auditions. And they asked me to come and audition, which I did. And it kind of all happened by accident. One day, the rehearsal pianist didn't show up and everyone wanted to practice their songs. And I was running through the songs with them on the piano. And I remember the judges coming in going, you play the piano as well? Yeah. I got into the band, I do feel, for having multifacets, which wasn't something I'd considered at the time. But now I look back, I'm so grateful for it. Some Hearsay for you there.
Oh, love it. It's classic.
I'm so grateful because I'd never been to a pop concert in my life.
Wow. Really?
The first pop concert I went to was my own. Oh, wow. So they were all going, hello, Wembley, and I was like, hello, Wembley! I was just copying them. Like, there's this whole culture of going to a concert, and I had no idea. I did arms in the air, put your arms... I just didn't know any of it.
But as well as all the amazing times that music helped you, it also helped you through some of your darkest times as well, didn't it?
Gosh, so when I went through that awful period of losing babies, and it was like nearly 5 years of losing babies every single year, the music is what I just threw myself back into, because it's so... I don't know if it was healing at the time, maybe afterwards, but it was comforting. And being able just to sit at the piano. And I'm sure there's certain pieces that I probably won't touch again because they do take me back to a certain time. But there's also pieces that actually went on to really be healing. I made a whole album of lullabies with my children. When you're losing babies and going through miscarriage, there's nothing that can heal that heartache. But there is just definitely... There's a piece that music can just bring you, and I listened to a lot of music then.
So true. Now, 23 years ago, Kelle burst onto the pop music scene with girl band Eternal. Music has helped you not only mentally, Kelle, but also with your physical recovery from lupus.
Yeah, it's strange how music can be such a powerful force, but the thing that I remember the most is, so lupus is a blood disorder that affects the white blood cells. So you've got red and white, and in lupus sufferers, the white blood cells become overactive, so they fight the body, so they attack the body. And in my case, this particular season, it had gone to my brain and had caused... I had a swelling on the brain, which meant that I lost functionality, so I lost the ability to speak. My sight was also affected. I developed a tic. My hearing was affected. I had to learn to read and write. So all of those... So basically, your brain controls everything, and I'd lost all of that. And there was one night that I'd had a seizure, so I was unconscious when I was taken into hospital. And when I came round, it was late at night, and I was on a ward. And I just remember people acting really strangely around me. So later on, I found out in the morning that it was a dementia ward. So the people around me, I didn't realise they weren't being unkind, they were unwell. And I presumed that they were mentally unwell. That's what I had thought. But, yeah, it was a dementia ward. But I was just scared because I was thinking, I've lost my mind. And I'm in this institution and nobody seemed to understand or was sort of... I guess, corpus mentis for me to be able to have a conversation with them and ask what was going on. And I was just really, really scared. And because I couldn't vocalise, I couldn't press a button, I couldn't move. And I had my iPods, which was next to me, and I couldn't do anything other than manage to put my earpods in. And at that time, it wasn't even like a Bluetooth thing, so I didn't have to think about, it was just a wire. And I just listened to an artist called Carrie Job, and she's a gospel artist. And she literally she has no idea, but she sang me through that situation. And I just kept pressing rewind, rewind, rewind. And the reason they put me on the dementia ward is because with lupus patients, you are hypersensitive to infection. And they knew that the dementia ward was the safest place, infection-wise, for me to be placed because I was so vulnerable. But no one had actually told me that. So I had spent this whole night absolutely scared, like so much so that I just wouldn't move and I just listened to music. So music really got me through that very, very dark period. Anyway, in the morning, my mum came when visiting hours was allowed, and, you know, they explained to me what was happening. They were like, you're on a dementia ward. They, you know, they put you here because they thought you'd be safe. And I was like, yeah, but nobody told me that. And I've spent this night being petrified to the point of not wanting to move, to the point of, you know, not being able to go to the bathroom. And it was a hellish night, but music is the thing that carried me through. And the fact that it was gospel, I felt really connected to Father and to God, and I just prayed my way through that night. And I really thank God for music and the power that it has, because it was able to nurse me when I couldn't, you know, vocally even speak to other people or ask for help.
So tell us why, because you're going to be the first one of us to perform. Tell us why this particular song means so much to you.
Well, it was at a time where Louise had just departed the band, and it was our very first album, the three of us. There was a lot of nerves and a lot of newness around the record. Was it going to be as successful as the last album? How are they going to do without Louise? All of this speculation. But for me, I was, you know, there was a period of time where I was going through an abusive relationship, and
Good time.
Come on, Kelle. You got
and this is why I love this show. Because it's the one place where you feel safe to actually share conversations like this, where you know you're not going to be judged or made to feel in any way uncomfortable. And we've got you can't see them, and this isn't protocol, but behind the scenes, we've got the most amazing production team who protect us and care for us in such an amazing way. Thank you. But I was going through an abusive relationship at the time, and it's music like this that anchors you, because you're having to learn lyrics, write lyrics, you know, and it really anchored me and made me feel like, actually, you know what? You're worth more, you're more powerful than you think, and you can do more than you could ever know or imagine.
So, it's been 20 years since Brenda's show-stopping performance on The X Factor changed her life forever. Since then, she has become a star of the West End and has even performed for the royal family. Now, Brenda, your love of music began as when you were a child.
Both of my parents died when I was 4. They had a massive vinyl collection, like Trojan records, and I remember the Trojan on the middle of the thing, and they used to play that regularly in the house, as far as I can remember. I don't have much recollection, of course, but and then when they passed, my grandmother and my mum's brothers and sisters raised me and my brother, and we basically were in the church 9 days a week. So
it's been there your whole life.
Absolutely.
And it became really prevalent, obviously, when you got your cancer diagnosis.
Yeah, I mean, when I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer in 2015, I would go to... My first chemo appointment was on World Cancer Day, February the 4th in 2016. I will never forget it, World Cancer Day. And I went into... while I was going to the hospital, to Charing Cross Hospital, I would just, you know, my ex-husband, he would drive me there because I wasn't allowed to drive, and we'd be in silence because it's kind of like a summer, but I was like, I push the button on and a tune will come on, like, let's get it started, or something like that, you know, and it's like, oh, my gosh, yeah, that's me. And so I'd go to my chemo appointment and I'd be in a very good mood and smiling and happy, and I'd walk in, and obviously, you know, you go into a room, I say obviously, you go into a room and there's about 30 people having different treatments of cancer, and it was very humbling to see in the first place and see the strength of all these people. But for me, my journey, it was important for me to stay positive for my family, for my kids. And so I'd go in and I'd put some music on, and then one of the chemo nurses, what are you listening to? And I'd put it on loud, and then everybody would start, like, getting into it. So it's very true, the power of music. It can really lift your spirits. It's very infectious, and it just took me to a different place. I didn't think about what was going on and what was being injected in my body. And even things like, you know, when I was doing the chemo, before I had my treatment, I elected to have a port put in, so it was like in my neck, and the operation, it went in, and then there was like a piece of plastic that was like resting on my vocal cord. So I was a little bit worried when I was having that operation whether I'd be able to sing, because every time I swallowed, I could feel the bit moving in my throat. So, you know, the chemo, like I said, I was a very positive person throughout it. I was determined to do my best to get to the other side of it. And, you know, but music definitely navigated my whole experience of how I went through that.
You passed it on, your love of music, to your children.
Well, I didn't actually, you know, I think when I was pregnant, I was always listening to music. It's like when I was pregnant with Jamal, it was Lisa Stanfield was playing. That album, I broke that album and had to buy another one because I played it that much. With Tanisha, it was like Loose Ends and Soul to Soul. So, you know, I think they heard it because I was always playing music. So I think they heard it inside me and they could feel the vibrations and they just came out like that. I didn't push them that way at all. They just naturally went that way. And the one thing that is steady is a constant, whether it's my parents both dying or breast cancer or Jamal or, you know, music has always lifted my spirit and just been able to direct me into a more positive space.
So before I ask you... Music's brought you so much joy in your family, hasn't it, Cole?
Well, it's definitely been a constant in our family. You know, I've been singing since the age of 2 with my whole family, all 10 of us, my mum, dad, 8 kids. So it's just something that's always been there and that I've always done. And I'm so grateful to it, you know, because I think all of that and then hit records, etc., you know, has led me to be here and I love doing this.
I don't think people realise, you know, especially this generation, just how big the Nolans were. Yeah. The Nolans.
I'm not being funny, you're a bit slow there.
Oh, yeah. We grew up watching you, and you had those really sort of tight, silky trousers
Lycras.
on.
Oh, the lycras. Girls, I was 13 there. 13. 13
Wow.
in that, yeah.
Weren't you bigger than the Beatles?
Yeah, at the time we were...
super fan here.
Yeah, at the time, I'm sure not now, but at the time we were bigger, sold more records than the Beatles. You know, growing up, for instance, at Christmas, we'd all be sitting around the table and break into Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas in 5-part harmony.
That's incredible.
And when my kids were little, they used to, well, as they got older, and we'd do all of that still. And then my mum was an opera singer. She'd sing something. My dad was Frank Sinatra, obsessed. He was a brilliant singer. My brothers sang. But I remember my kids, when they grew up, used to say to me, you know, that wasn't normal. Like, it's not normal for people to break out in 5-part harmony at Christmas dinner. But to me, it just was, you know.
But your sons are into the music and Kira's not so...
Yeah, so both my boys are in the business and they're both super talented. You know, they've gone very different ways, but they've both got great voices, you know, great stage presence. Kira wrote some beautiful songs. She's got an amazing voice, but she just doesn't want to do it.
It's really struck me because you said that you used to sing 5-part harmony around the table, but not all those parts are there now.
Well, it was funny, actually, because certainly the last couple of Christmases and then last Christmas, obviously, we no longer have Bernie and Linda. So we can never sing like that again. You know, it's people like say, oh, why don't, you know, the remaining ones go on tour? It will never be that. It will never be the same for me without those two. But again, music very much got me through, you know, all of those times. Don't all look at me because I will cry and I don't want to. So I'm just going to look at Ray. I should have picked I Will Survive to sing.
Anyway, like you just said, it is your turn to perform now, Cole. And Myleene, you're going to be joining her too. So get yourselves ready, off you go.
Can I... Just before I do that, can I explain why I picked this song?
Yes.
Because I think everyone's probably thinking, oh, she's going to get up and do I'm in the mood for dancing, which I'm definitely not. I picked this song because I think right now at the moment, and things I've been through, things you've been through, we've all been through, and I know a lot of the audience have been through, and just the situation of today, it's really hard today. Everything's hard around the world, the atrocities, everything, you know, the cost of living, just I feel like all the news at the moment is quite sad. And I thought, what song can I sing for them and for us? And I've picked Somewhere from West Side Story because I have to believe that there is somewhere that's going to bring us peace and quiet. So, Jeannie, stop crying. I want her to sing a note. So anyway...
I'm not looking at her. Not looking.
I'm going to attempt to sing that for you, so bear with me.
Right, you two go and get yourselves ready. And don't forget, if anything we've spoken about today has resonated with you or you need any help or advice, it is always there. At ITV, we have our very own Britain Get Talking initiative, which promotes better mental health by encouraging people to connect with one another. You can find some really helpful and useful helplines on the Britain Get Talking website. Details are on our screens right now.